This is my 1996 BMW E36, and that is if I can even call it a car at this point. And I bought it a few months back to challenge myself to see if I can rebuild a car 30 years older than me without any prior experience. But that meant we had to tear each and everything apart. The brakes were removed, the suspension, the differential, the engine. And my goal is to transform this bare shell into the ultimate driving machine, or what the BMW boys called the BMW M3. After nearly half a year of waiting, the parts for the BMW E36 are here. We have a plethora of parts. And after many months of waiting, here is the proper engine for this car. I've always wanted to own a manual V8 rear wheel car, and here is the opportunity to finally do it. So we need to get this engine off the pickup, and to do so we need a crane. A crane is what we need to hoist it out. So from my end, I'll hold the hoist, and Mike and Ian will tie the engine to the crane and finally push it back, and the project can finally begin. This has been many months of waiting, which most of you never saw, but there it is. Brand new second-hand engine for this car. It's not an inline 6, it's not an inline 4. All I can tell you is it's bloody massive. And this entire engine is supposed to fit somehow kwa hiyo gari. My original plan was to make this BMW E36 faster than an M3 of the same era, and to achieve that, I've managed to source a new engine for that car. Problem is, that car is barely ready for any part. The paint on this is a mess, and therefore we've started removing the paint. I'm not a painter, but I do know when I see some bad paint. We have tons of filler on this car. The paint might look
Niokwenda Mugonda. Niwenderoria. Niokwenda Mugonda. Osionderenda Mugonda.
And that means starting from the bare shell with no paint on it. So let's get cracking. And to achieve that, this is what you need: paint remover. And this thing reacts quite quickly with paint. So within a few seconds, this paint should be coming off. It's that quick actually. And there is the paint already coming off. There we have it. Next thing you're going to need is a scraper, a friend, and a lot of time on your hands, because this takes a lot of time and it's tedious. And this car had tons of paint layers. It had red, it had maroon, it had yellow, it had cream. So basically removing it and starting from afresh. And apart from that, everything else from the body needs to come out. The windows, the rubbers, the door handles, everything needs to come out. So this can just be a blank state. 12 a.m. and that's the progress so far. We've dealt with the bonnet, the fenders, these two doors, and my overall is falling, and the rear as well. So next day, the roof and the other two doors as well. And once we're done with that, the car can get ready for paint and some PPF. William was a guy who was working on the body, and the car is back to its bare shell. Now, the amount of detail this guy has given to this car is quite a lot, honestly. And this is why you have to strip your car down when you're doing a full restoration. If we did not, we wouldn't know there are patches like this on the body. As you can see here, there might have been an accident and it wasn't straightened out correctly. Same as places like here. And if we were to do paint or any PPF on it, it will probably show. But this guy has done some tremendous work. So that's done.
Remove the mount.
Engine mount.
Tufungue kitu kama fuel system. Ingia huko ndani.
Fuel.
Fuel system pia.
Engine mount, fuel, what next?
Fuel system, and then we go to gearbox. To dismantle mounting a gearbox na propeller.
Propeller. So on our list, 4 things: engine mount, fuel, propeller. Nini nyingine umesema?
Gearbox mounting.
The gearbox. So these are the next things to come out.
If on the fight up. Number 8.
Day 3 and every mechanical bit of this car needs to come out so the body guys can come back and prep the body for the next stage.
And there is a front radiator out. Yes, that's just kiguruma. Na guruma kwa kwanza. Guruma sana. Sijaiona ikizunguka.
Next up, it's the wiring. So the wiring comes off, then the hardware will come out. So, whilst I'm removing the wiring, Mike can tie the engine with a rope and then attach the rope to an engine hoist, and we can try to remove the engine and the gearbox out. So there is a lot of things going on back and forth. Now we can now try and remove the engine. Mafuta ya gear. Ile clutch. Your brakes and your clutch pedal use the same brake fluid, so we disconnected the entire brake caliper, the brake disc, just so we can remove the entire system all at once before we could remove the engine. Kuna uhai bado kama nikazima.
Anazumbua mahali alikuwa ameingia. Nikosa maji.
Kuna maji gani? And there is the radiator out. While still doing that, the bodywork guys bado wanapambana, sisi tuko kwa engine. And then this is a pipe for the expansion tank. There we go. There is a main radiator out, which now leaves us with the engine and tons of space to work on. And hopefully we can test fit if the V8 will fit. I know it won't, but we can just do a test fit of it. So this is a 4-cylinder engine. It's called the M44. So next up, this is coming out. 1852. Let's see how long it takes to get that engine out. Next up, it's the lower suspension, the control arm, the subframe, and the steering rack all need to come out. Here is the anti-roll bar that's out. Next up, the steering rack, and we should be done. And now the engine is only supported by the crane. And after this, we're not going back. And finally, we can let the bodywork guys finish off their magic, and I must say, this was phenomenal. We won't be doing paint at the minute yet, but we'll just leave it at the primer stage, which is this grayish matte look that you see. We've torn down almost every single bit of this BMW E36, and what remains is just but a bare shell. The suspension, the wheels, the engine, every single part has been torn down. But there's one thing that remains, and that is the fuel tank. This one right here. And to remove this fuel tank, there's only a few things you'll need. One is a bottle to empty out the excess fuel. Another one is a flat screwdriver and 13mm socket, which is this. So we have two on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you'll need to move the handbrake lines and loosen the these are the fuel pipes. You'll need to loosen the fuel pipes with a screwdriver, and that's basically it. So let's get cracking. Let's go. I forgot to do one thing. That's loosening the pipes. So that is what Ian anashughulikia. Open that pipe. That is what goes to the fuel cap. Mali attendant ana fuel, anekanga fuel. So there is that pipe. Kuna mafuta? Sidhani kuna mafuta.
Hizi kumefika hapo.
Kumbuka kuvaa miwani usiingiwe na mchanga. Yeah. And I'll be on the other side. Yeah. Fungua pale. Fungua pipe. Nice. hipande. Oh, easy pipe. There's this one handbrake line here. Almost every single important bolt on this car has been touched, and this fuel tank is the last remaining bit to just remain with the bare chassis. And here it comes, and we will be basically done for that. And after 5 minutes, here is the bloody fuel tank. Ta-da! I think this is a 55-liter tank, but this is where your fuel is stored. Next thing you should do should be to drain it, and after you've drained it, clean it. And that's that. Here we go. There's the fuel. Pretty clean actually. There we go. Bob. I had one very big problem with this car. And this car at times could not start and sometimes it could start. So I always thought it was a fuel, of course, being a project car. But turns out we have quite a bit of fuel in the fuel tank, which the funny thing is that the fuel gauge never read anything. So you fill up, but it always read at E, or it's just like an empty tank anytime the fuel gauge was reading. Barely read anything. So, which confirms my suspicion was that we had bad wiring for the fuel pump. So, that's problem solved. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.